Well, a number of Republicans over on Capitol Hill denounced the Trump administration's efforts to try to force Denmark to hand over Greenland to the United States. And I want you to take a listen to these very strong words coming from one Republican in particular, Senator Tom Tillis of North Carolina.
That is absurd. I've got a couple of buddies that call me cranky. You know what makes me cranky? Stupid. What makes me cranky is when people don't do their homework. What makes me cranky is when we tarnish the extraordinary execution of a mission I fully support in Venezuela by turning around and making insane comments about how it is our right to have territory owned by the Kingdom of Denmark. Folks, amateur hour is over. You don't speak on behalf of this U.S. Senator or the Congress. You can say it may be the position of the President of the United States that Greenland should be a part of the United States, but it's not the position of this government.
Donald Trump wants Greenland. Yes, again. In recent statements, Trump has revived the idea that the United States should take control of Greenland, calling it a matter of national and international security. The proposal has reignited global debate and raised serious geopolitical questions. So what's really going on here, and why does Greenland matter so much?
I served on active duty in the military for 4 years and then additional 21 years in the reserves. I was a JAG. There is absolutely no legal justification whatsoever to use military force against a NATO ally, against Greenland. And if any military member, including the generals on down to enlisted members, if any of them participate in the use of military force against Greenland without congressional authorization, they are following illegal orders. That's simply a fact.
Trump has argued that Greenland is critical to U.S. security interests, particularly as global powers compete for dominance in the Arctic. He has framed the idea not as conquest, but as a strategic acquisition, similar to historic land purchases like Alaska. Trump has warned that if the U.S. doesn't strengthen its presence in the Arctic, rivals like China and Russia will.
Would the US really take Greenland by force? And what could this look like? President Trump says America must have the island, which is part of Denmark. The White House has said all options are on the table, including using the US military to get Greenland. This would be a dramatic move with huge consequences. The US already has around 200 troops permanently stationed in Greenland. It's had a military base there for decades, and defense experts we've spoken to say the US could launch a military operation quickly and easily. There is no Greenland army, and Denmark has limited resources there. An attack would mean the biggest member of NATO, the US, taking territory of another member. Unprecedented, and probably the end of this transatlantic defense alliance. Europe would face a huge dilemma. Does it fight back against what's been its most powerful ally, or just let Greenland go? America's top diplomat, Marco Rubio, has reportedly told US lawmakers the US does not plan to invade Greenland, but that it wants to buy the island instead. The problem is that both Greenland and Denmark say it's not for sale.
Greenland isn't just a frozen island. It's one of the most strategically valuable places on Earth. It sits between North America and Europe, directly along key military and missile defense routes. The U.S. already operates a major military installation there, Patuxent Space Base, formerly Thule Air Base. Greenland is also rich in rare earth minerals, essential for modern technology, defense systems, and renewable energy. As Arctic ice melts, new shipping lanes are opening, and whoever controls access controls the future.
Why does he want to claim us? We are already claimed, like, by our own people. We are part of the Danish kingdom. So we're just talking like, is it what we have in the mountains? Is it gold? Is it oil? It's not for national security, because he has all the opportunities to create more US military bases around Greenland.
When you see what's happened in Venezuela, obviously there's been a lot of that over the past few days, kind of the fallout from that. Does that make you scared?
And in the same interview where he's talking about the kidnapping of another president, he's talking about Greenland and saying something like, in 20 days, we'll get back to Greenland. And that makes me feel like sick to my stomach.
What do you think needs to happen with the future of Greenland?
One day we will be independent. Right now we are a part of the Danish kingdom, and hopefully we'll still be a part of the Danish kingdom, but as an independent country.
Denmark, which governs Greenland, has made its position clear. Greenland is not for sale. Greenland's own leaders have gone even further, saying their future will be decided by Greenlanders, not Washington, not Copenhagen. International reaction has ranged from disbelief to concern, with critics warning that the rhetoric fuels instability and territorial tension.
He's not trolling. He's not kidding. It is becoming increasingly clear that the president is serious about the United States taking Greenland. And the White House just said a short time ago the president and his team are discussing a range of options to pursue this important foreign policy goal. And of course, utilizing the U.S. military is always an option at the commander-in-chief's disposal. Utilizing the military on a NATO ally? Now, in case you didn't know, Greenland is a territory of Denmark, a NATO ally, and the United States already has presence in Greenland. We have a military base there, like all the military bases we've established in lots of NATO countries. The base in Greenland was an Air Force base. Now it's a Space Force base. So if we're already there, why does President Trump insist that the United States take Greenland away from Denmark and make it part of the United States? Well, here's what he said about it just a few days ago.
I will say this about Greenland. We need Greenland from a national security situation. It's so strategic. Right now, Greenland is covered with Russian and Chinese ships all over the place. We need Greenland from the standpoint of national security. And Denmark is not going to be able to do it, I can tell you.
I think it's helpful to look at a map so you can understand what President Trump is talking about. Obviously, there is Greenland right there, and here is the United States. Now, it's unclear where in this water those Russian and Chinese ships are located, but obviously, in the eyes of President Trump, it's too close for comfort. Now, since we're already operating that Space Force base in Greenland, most military experts say that the Danes and the Greenlanders are willing to work with the United States with any kind of strategic operation the U.S. wants to run. So why take it? It's unclear. It's also unclear what legal rationale Trump could use to justify taking that kind of military action against Greenland. We're not at war with Greenland. Greenland is not a threat to the United States. In fact, it's an ally. Drugs are not coming from Greenland. And if it's such a national security concern, again, the Greenlanders and the Danes are already on our team and they're willing to help us out with whatever military operation we want to run. Now, the Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, has suggested to lawmakers that the United States may be willing to purchase Greenland. But the Greenlanders and the Danes say Greenland is not for sale, and they aren't the only ones talking about this. Today, our other European NATO allies, including the President of France, the Chancellor of Germany, the Prime Ministers of Italy, Poland, Spain, and the United Kingdom, along with the Prime Minister of Denmark, released this statement directed at President Trump without mentioning his name once. The statement says Greenland belongs to its people. It is for Denmark and Greenland, and them only, to decide on matters concerning Denmark and Greenland. They also said that the security of the Arctic is a priority for Europe too, and therefore NATO must collectively work together with the United States to defend that region. Now, interestingly enough, they also added in that letter that NATO, including the United States, has always upheld the principles of the UN Charter, including sovereignty, territorial integrity, and the inviolability of borders. These are universal principles, and we will not stop defending them. Does that mean if Trump moves forward with some kind of military operation to take Greenland over the objection of Denmark, that NATO would defend Greenland against the United States? Or does it mean that NATO would simply no longer exist?
This isn't just about Greenland. It's about the next global power struggle, the Arctic. Trump's comments highlight a growing reality. The Arctic is becoming a frontline in geopolitical competition, and the U.S. is signaling it won't step back. Whether or not Greenland ever changes hands, one thing is clear: the race for the Arctic has already begun.